This is mind control. 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 If you don't control your mind's controlling you. This is mind control.
Let me tell you motherfuckers what it is. I'm not about to mince words in this verse just so it fits. I rap in cursive to disperse this shit, then reverse the flow a bit and show you it's so wicked when this rhyme finds its way in your mind, cause you won't ever get it out. And I doubt this line will just let you keep forgetting. I am spitting crystal clear, lyrical poetic messages I whisper in your ears. I'm here to speak the truth till they kill me. There's no use in trying to stop me, and I ought to be a lot more free to choose what I fucking say. But if they don't approve, the public just agrees when they see me on the news. I'm a domestic terrorist interfering with my lips. Conspiracy theories that I've been pushing to the kids, telling everyone to get a gun and wear it on their hips. I must be stopped, so call the cops and insist they shoot me on sight. Cause even if I don't fight, I'm a threat you must eliminate before I take flight. See, I'm a menace to society, so dangerous I might convince the whole fucking planet to rebel and reunite.
This is mind control. This is mind control. If you don't control your mind's controlling you. This is mind control.
Human sheep still asleep, hear me speaking to the beat as I creep between the sheets of the minds I repeat. It's time to wake the fuck up, each line is unique. Lead designed to de-hypnotize the blind and delete the social conditioning they promoted from birth. Emotional manipulations that these masons insert into every facet of our lives until we invert our entire way of being just so we can go to work. We're trading hours of our lives for currency. We die imaginary, very scary numbered paper which decides if we deserve to eat or even have a place to sleep. They took the world for themselves and told us not to peek. How did we forget our souls buried deep inside, incarnated with a purpose that these serpents try to hide? That's why I'm telling you it's worth it just to open your eyes. You've never seen below the surface of what's working to disguise religious fairy tales and political divides. Keep the masses on a leash, but I release you with pride. It's my honor to stand before you, speaking my mind. My sacred duty to renew your soul's beauty is divine.
This is mind control. This is mind control. If you don't control your mind's controlling you. This is mind control. This is mind control. This is mind control. If you don't control your mind's controlling you. This is mind control.
So lizards beware, I'm the wizard who ain't scared to summon one hell of a blizzard and come kill you in your lair, bury you beneath the river. I'll deliver you there so that your frozen body shivers as it's quivering for air. Hawkeye is back, yeah, you demons, it's a fact. After I wake up this legion, these Phoenicians will attack. My strategic infiltration of this matrix was a trap, so tell your agents stand adjacent or I'll make them fall back. If I wasn't here then, maybe you could win, but your war against humanity's insanity, friend. My soul is much too old for you to comprehend, and I've returned once again with all of my kin. The 7 billion souls reincarnated to end your rule upon this planet. We plan to descend a message to the demons in the box who pretend they stand a chance to break free. Hey,
Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Pretty good. How are you?
I'm trying to figure out how to work this program. Full screen, there we go.
Cool. So where you post this on your YouTube, right? Or where?
No, this is not live. This is my podcast, Beneath the Surface.
Right. Okay. So you'll send me links so I can help share and.
Yeah, I definitely will. I guess I had this whole thing all written down in my mind and like laid out what I wanted to talk with you about specifically. But that was in 2019. And since then, a lot has gone on. And now here we are at 2022, near the end of it, which is hyper interesting to me because before I ever ran across any of your material or knew any of the terminology that kind of works and fits for understanding the things that I was tapping into back around 2008, 2009, I was, I got this date in my head when talking with a friend about, I guess the context was religion at the time, the Christianity avenue that I went down. And I told this friend of mine, I said 2023 to 2024. And as you, of course, know, that links up with the Pluto going into Aquarius. And so a few years ago, I was sitting there with my pen and paper, just thinking about stuff. And I kind of saw it as this big clock in the sky. And it's like, oh, it's going to strike 12. And then I did the calculations and everything to see when. And I was like, oh, and I was like, so this timeline linked up with this timeline, the train of thoughts. And so here we are, beginning of this. And I just got through watching earlier your YouTube about Ophiuchus.
Right.
And so that's tomorrow until.
Yeah, well, today, tomorrow. Some people say the 29th, other people say 30th. I mean, depending on a person's time zone, I guess. Just, yeah, pretty much 29th, 30th of November to the 17th, 18th of December.
Interesting. That's very interesting to me. Of course, I find most things interesting if I try. I also find a lot of things not interesting. Depends on my state of mind, you know. But it's interesting because my birthday, my 33rd birthday, actually will be on December the 18th. So, yeah, we're in this window here.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to sit here and speak with you.
Well, great. I know we've been in touch for so long. It's been awesome to stay in touch, and now we're finally doing this.
Yeah. I think it was around 2012, 2013 when I first came across your work. So it's been right at 10 years here. So I've had to come a long way as far as just developing as a person, developing as a conscious person, trying to tap in with my spirit and live from that mode of being, not get caught up in, I don't know what you want to call it, there's so many words, the matrix or whatever, and trying to stay plugged into nature and unplugged from our techno society. And throughout it all, I've gone through a bunch of different insane scenarios that should have never existed, that came about at the worst of times, yet they still came about. And I went through them and I made it out of the other side. And I just want to, first off, thank you for your work. Just everything that I've seen from way back when up until you posted that today, didn't you?
The Ophiuchus one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It was actually just a few hours ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So from way back then until a few hours ago, I've been finding sort of a guiding light, not saying that you're the guiding light, saying that you're saying, here is the light consistently. And that's something that throughout the years, nobody that I know has remained consistent in anything, whether it's interpersonal, just their personality changes, their character seems to shift and this and that. And definitely people in the spotlight or speaking in public or occupying of authority of any sort, like your politicians or this or that, they're so back and forth with this and that. And it leaves me really appreciating it when I find someone like yourself who is on a mission, obviously, and it's a higher mission. It's not just something that I dreamed up in her head one day. And this that I'm doing with the Beneath the Surface podcast and the Omniversal Media company that I'm trying to get off the ground, right? It's not just an idea that is cool. So we went after it. There's a lot more behind it than meets the eye. And most people, I don't know, Jesus said, let him who hath an ear hear. So he was saying, if any of you have ears, please hear me. So where do I want to go with this? Thank you so much for sticking with the mission, for remaining dedicated to it. I'm definitely someone that benefited from it, that needed that, especially in certain moments. I was in a really dark place. I remember, and I text you and I said, only if you tell me that the sun will rise tomorrow, I'll believe you, because otherwise I don't believe you. And you responded back with, it'll rise again and again and again.
That's what I wrote.
Yeah, it was a short little message back, and it just that blew my mind in that moment. I was like, oh my God, it will rise again and again and again. And now my religion, I guess you could say, if I was going to say I had a religion, my holy trinity is the sun, rain, and tree. And that whole phenomenon of the sun shines, the rain falls, and trees grow, and as a result, we can all breathe. And that's the beauty of life. And I think that was the title of the episode way back when, that I wanted to discuss with you, was this thing that I have termed as the beauty, with just nature and this and that. And at times we tap into it on a psychological, synchronistic level, and magic occurs. And I've come to the conclusion that that's what real life is. And we're constantly being pulled away from that, because it's too powerful of a state for us to exist in if our controllers are going to continue to control, I guess. So is there anything that you would like to share? As I said, I had a script back then, and now it's just kind of...
Oh yeah, I know, because everything changes. It's been nuts in 2019. No matter how much people might have known or warned about the New World Order or whatever, it's a whole nother thing when you're in it. I say that a lot because none of us are free of feeling some level of major effects of it. I mean, doesn't matter how awake you are, how asleep you are, it's impacting all of us. And when it comes to the controllers, they really do track all the initiatory planetary alignments that are really here to help humanity grow and move through major growth periods, transformation processes, major awakenings, revelations, epiphanies, intuitive hits, all the things that the organic ascension timeline is providing for us, based in this being a very prophesized window. Many have different years as far as what that window is. Like Ashiana Diane and Keylontic Science have mentioned 2000 and 2017. Then it got stressed to 2025. Lisa Renee, energeticsynthesis.com, has talked about, these, kind of windows as well. Lots of people have talked about it. And when we hear about the prophecies from before, most of it was surrounded by 2012. That was a very significant date. And I would say that was a really peak time, because from what I've come to understand is the timeline shift really took place in 2010. It has to do with the Theicus. Some people won't agree that the sun started to move through the Theicus on 2010 or during 2010. And when I talk about that, I don't really have the solid proof, because it's a very ancient sign. The sun used to be through a Theicus, but when we went through these dark cycles of history for the last 26,000 years, when the dark reversal grids were placed and really throwing off our DNA completely and totally and separating us from our galactic memories, and the mother energy wasn't grounded in the planet anymore, that's when I feel and know intuitively that we are really just functioning in the 12-strand DNA manipulations that created this sort of junk DNA based in the manipulation of the planetary grid network. So we've been healing that, right? And the understanding of the 12 zodiac system and the 12 houses, and just all the different sacred sites connected to the 12 stargates. Yes, that's been important to rebuild the architecture of our 12-strand DNA. It's going to take a while for us to do it physically, but we can do it consciously by connecting with our Christ Sophia divine blueprint, with Christ consciousness. And some people get offended by that. They think it's new agey, but just understanding that we can be Christed beings And religion has really distorted that. There's a lot of good intention in some religions for sure. And it can really help a lot of people get on track, but it can also begin to, maybe make it difficult for a person to find spiritual sovereignty and the real truth of the matter. So when the 13th sign came in, I really feel that was when the mother energy dropped back in to the core of the planet, which has to do with the Venus transits and the corrections that have been taking place to turn the inverted pentagram, the satanic version, upright again, which you have on your shirt, right? And that upright pentagram points to the ether. The ether rules Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, and that represents the cosmic mother energy. And it also associates with the serpent and the reptilian energies and a masculine energy. So back in ancient times when we sort of lost connection to it, we've been looking to find mastery over the reptilian Draco influence over the mind and the mind control in order to get back to the true expression of Ophiuchus, which has to do with purifying the corrupted waters and the fallen seraphim, the fallen angelics, Elohim as well. And it goes all into that kind of stuff, right? So it represents a purification. And there's so much more to it. I could read a few notes that I have about it, but basically it's a time to purify and it's a time to activate. And they keep throwing, the controllers, ways to stunt our growth and throw us off center so that we don't move through these initiations, and everything that symbolizes our inability to breathe in the breath of life and cleanse our blood and mitochondria gets stunted and blocked by masking, 6 feet apart, censorship, and all these things that actually are making our throat chakra not able to move into 5D. It's a 5th chakra, 5th element, the purification of our throat chakra. So we're speaking truth. They're doing everything they can to prevent that. And if we can move away from it, cut the energetic cords and stand in alignment, we can move through these greater initiations and come out with the override frequency so that we can offset all the dark controllers and their dark technology, is how I kind of see it. So 2010, I just feel it was really significant. The sun might have began to creep in there earlier, but it really became amplified starting 2010, especially peaking 2012. And now all these dark agendas are like trying to pull the carpet from under us.
So you just connected way too many dots for me to describe the picture in my mind to anyone who's going to wind up hearing this one day. But thank you, because I'd say right around the second half of 2009 was when I had, I don't even know what to term it. It wasn't so much an awakening as in like aha moment. It was more of a sudden download of an exponential amount of data into my mind, almost as if it was a total recall type of memory experience of just all of these different lives and places and just all at once. And I didn't know how to deal with it or handle it or what to do with it when I was able to function after things kind of slowed down. But then my mind is kind of like seared with these memories of stuff that I don't have a context for, because I was 19 and I was in the Christian church at the time, and after this happened, the church people were all like, "Oh no, you got the devil." I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because I've still got.
Wait, because you connected to religion? Somebody said that to you?
No, the religious people around me.
Oh.
Kind of kicked me out of the church because I think I tapped into the God part of me that brought all of these what I love the term now. I've used it several times in speaking with people on this podcast. The galactic memories, the memories not only here but from elsewhere, just this and that. And so it goes on from 2009 at the end half of it, which you mentioned 2010. So almost as if in preparation for that, from then until now. And that's now my website is reincarnated2resist.com, because that's who I am and what I've done. I have reincarnated. This is not my first time here. A lot of us, definitely not our first time here, but why are we not not a part of the natural and normal conversation? It's kind of ridiculous to me, because I definitely reincarnated specifically to resist this dark force that you're mentioning, because unless it is resisted by something, then everyone who doesn't know that they're locked in, they're never gonna know, and they're never gonna get out of it, because we're actively being held in this psychic prison, if you will.
Totally.
Actively. And
Oh yeah.
that's the problem that I see with a lot of just even spiritual circles. People don't understand that they're actively under control, and so they can't actively fight back against it. And that's the point of that's the point of this podcast, and naming it Beneath the Surface. And just, it even goes so far as to, I remember during that time frame right before 2010, I was on the internet looking at something, and it went from some weird search to this or that, and then I wind up on something about this serpent handler, this Ophiuchus, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it was until years later, and I was listening to probably either you or someone in your same field mentioning it, and then I'm like, wait, I was looking at that right when everything got crazy back there, right when it all started, when the journey began, when I began to remember who I am, and this name of this constellation. It's not a constellation, but it is a constellation. It's there, and then the number 13, and it didn't click in my mind until right up until you said the 13th sign here.
I'm so glad that I did a video, like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, like, the date is coming. Yeah, Ophiuchus is known as a serpent holder, and it actually sits 180 degrees opposite of Orion constellation. They're directly opposite each other. So that's kind of the masculine and feminine principle, and how they kind of have a healing effect on the Saturn moon matrix and the healing of these dark agendas that we're talking about. But it's kind of, it has different octaves like every sign does. When you look at any sign of the zodiac, there's always sort of a shadow side. And as we evolve as humans, we should be at the higher octaves of all of these signs. And I feel like you, where, why aren't these conversations happening? Why are people falling for this stuff? There are even webinars and TED Talks with Gates spelling it out very clear what the agenda is. And George Bush Sr. made it very clear about New World Order. And in most of these globalist speeches, they're talking about things like depopulation. Here, everybody is willingly taking themselves out. And it's distressing and very difficult to witness, because I agree, we have incarnated a lot. We have a lot of experience here, Earthlings, us, that, might come in with a mission, that are activators to others, and that are here to really have these deeper conversations, and that we're given that sort of clarity or those downloads or that realization, maybe at an early age, doesn't matter what stage of the game, but here we are talking about this. It puts a lot of heaviness on us. I just talked to Lisa Renee, energeticsynthesis.com, and we always kind of check in with each other when things get really difficult. I'm usually the one that just reaches out. Sometimes she does, and I try not to do it too much. I know how busy she is, but we're so, connected that it's never really an issue. And our latest exchange was actually today, and the Halloween energies, the Samhain energies, and the dark rituals and all the opposition is like literally for a lot of us. And I don't know if it's a gender thing, and I'm not into, it's like impossible to even talk about gender anymore without it just,
yeah.
But I just mean, like the feminine and, just being maybe.
I know what you mean.
And the men just kind of like having to kind of charge through, but we carry masculine energy, you guys carry feminine energy. So it's not really based in the gender, but I think her and I have in common that we sometimes so much moves through our body, like we can't function, get out of bed. And when people don't really understand that, or if I have to reschedule something, sometimes and I think a lot of people can relate, we're dealing with the galactic wars. We're dealing with direct opposition that is really trying to destabilize, and a lot of energy work that we're working through our body, not just being activators and not wanting to necessarily be absorbers, and take it all on,
Someone
like
has to.
like overload can do, but there is a tremendous amount of energy work that impacts our physical. How are you handling the physical right now?
I'm doing all right at the present time. I'm experiencing a lot of, and I just say that I'm getting old. I'll be 33 in December.
Say that. I'm
Well,
like so much
I
older than-
have a bunch of aches and pains like in my joints and stuff. But
a lot of good stuff that I'm taking for that kind of thing that I could tell you about later.
sure, because I need to start moving in that way and focusing more on. In fact, that's where my mind has been stuck over the last 3-4 weeks leading up to this. Has been focusing on physical manifestations, bringing this podcast into being,
Good job.
connecting with the right people, having the conversations that are needed, and just this inner push to just really kind of just stay focused on this. Like right before I got on here, I was editing the next episode that's supposed to air next week, and I uploaded the one that's supposed to go this week. Why? Because I procrastinate, but something within me is just like, nope, it's time. So that's all dealing with stuff here in the physical, and it's not something I can ignore any longer. And I think that's a message for anyone who's listening. This is all something that we can't ignore anymore. I think the COVID thing should have made that very clear. The Epstein thing before the COVID thing should have made that even clearer. But yeah, here we are in 2022 at the end of it, and nobody's talking about Epstein because
There's been documentaries, and Virginia Roberts Guffrey and another woman named Teresa Helm and a few others that were the main Epstein victims that have been in these documentaries. We used to have 3-way conversations all the time. And we were actually all going to get an Airbnb in Montana and meet up and figure out how to really just really get this out there. But that was right before Virginia got really sick and did some traveling. And also it ended up that she was able to sue Andrew and she got millions for it. I haven't really been in touch with her at all, but it's sort of like, okay,
my question is, why
talk about that anymore? What about all the people? What about the list of actors that are still in Hollywood that are still acting and nobody's outraged? Everybody's ignoring it, but everybody's all up in arms if you don't call them a pronoun. I'm so
I know exactly how you feel. And I've actually calmed down a lot over the last 2-3 years because I used to. No. I don't think. I think that I've calmed down, but other people should just go crazy with it. And just be like, yo, shut up. We're not talking about what's between your legs today. We're talking about this, or we're not talking about what you think should be there. We're talking about
triggers
this.
And insecurities. When it's heal, love yourself. Nobody's judging you. Get over it. Don't you see what we did in the 80s? We were all you're in this. I mean, why is this cultural insanity taking over people's minds? Haven't we gotten through all that as a humanity yet? It's just the indoctrination in the school systems are insane, and they're rewriting history, and people have amnesia, and they have been drinking fluoride. They've been eating crap food. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's a lot of health foods. You can get it anywhere, even at airports. I don't know.
It's probably these things that we carry around all the time.
Well, of course. Hello.
That we're staring into constantly. And
EMF stickers, everybody.
Nowadays, you can't really function in the world as a normal person.
Everybody's
you have to be creative about it, but you have to have a cell phone. You have to. I have a good
it's
friend.
My office.
Yeah, I have a good friend.
Every once in a while, I go on these social media things. Just say hi to my friend.
Yeah,
it's really hard to wake up anybody anymore because they're so far gone. It feels like
I don't even try. I use it for fun. I post stupid, silly things that make me laugh, and I go on. And every now and then,
I'm just cracking up, and it's I don't know. Anybody else want to laugh with me? That's fine because I'm laughing at their memes, your memes.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, that's what the internet is, but nobody seems to be able to see that anymore.
Well, it's use it as a great tool to bring across a lot of messages and be a resource.
Yes.
Take it or leave it. Can't.
That's one thing that's very obvious, I think, to all of our eyes that are open, is that we have taken these tools that were meant to distract and push through the algorithmic whatever way that the feed programs your subconscious through this post, that post, this and that. I don't want to get into explaining how all of that works, but I think despite all of that and their intention for giving it to us, we took the tool and we did exceptionally well with it. Can you tell any of the listeners of any projects that you have going on?
Yeah.
Like in the now time coming up soon, just so that they can,
Yes.
if they're tuned into this and you hear, I want them to follow that wave on.
You are awesome. Yes, that's great. I don't know when we're going to air this. I do have a webinar coming up. You can go to cosmicgaia.org. It's right on the homepage. It's a 2-hour webinar, and it comes with a half hour of Q&A, and people who attend can get a discounted one-on-one session with me. I do $15 off people that are non-subscribers. Subscribers to my podcast and newsletters get discounted readings normally and get a coupon code discount for the event. And so that way, you can take it all in and then have some one-on-one time with me. I might be scheduled out for a while, but I'll make sure it happens. It's difficult sometimes with the amount of spam and extra messages that I don't need, that I constantly have to clear from my phone. I do miss messages sometimes, but don't hesitate to get back to me. Also, there's a cruise. Oh God, a cruise coming up in April. And it's a little expensive because that's how cruises are. It's like a 7-day trip, but it's really not that bad. You got a lot of amazing speakers, and I'll be doing personal readings. I've done these things before. It's a lot of fun. Brad Olson will be there, Jimmy Church, Adam Apollo, myself, Jason Shirka, Maureen St. Germain. Did I say Brad Olson? Rob Potter, Paola Harris. I mean, the list goes on. So it's Vivian Chavez, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Okay, I can't even believe a lot more. Scott Walter. Okay, so Nick Pope. I could keep going. So that's on my website too. And it's not till April 7th. And I swear, we are all abundant beings. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's too expensive. I can't do that. Well, you just programmed yourself to not be able to do something. And I'm not talking about this cruise necessarily. I'm talking about life in general. The cruises aren't for everybody, right? Sometimes the schedule isn't right. Sometimes we aren't abundant enough for something that expensive, but don't
limit yourself.
You can't. And, oh, that's too much, because you literally, the magician archetype is our throat chakra and the words that come out of our mouth. People forget how powerful our words are, and that shapes our reality. And that's why they have used mind control, because as long as our minds are controlled, we are literally enabling artificial timelines, false narratives, indoctrination. We are the spreaders. We are the spreaders of these mind viruses without realizing it. People are unconscious. They don't think twice before they speak. They don't ask themselves, is this really a part of my truth and intuition? No, they're just regurgitating whatever they saw on the news, whatever they picked up in Hollywood movies, or what they saw on TV growing up. It's like, go off and go camping or go on a road trip, or just detox your brain from this crap. See, when I do shows late, I tend to drop F-bombs, so I've been really careful.
Oh, I'm good. You see my shirt here. It says, dead inside, please fuck off.
Oh, sweet. I'm in good company. Well, I do. I'm in good company. I love that. I didn't see the bottom part of that.
I was wearing it. I was like, I should take that off. And I was like, nah. I'm just gonna be.
It's perfect. And it's the upright pentagram.
I didn't notice that until you pointed that out. That makes me like it even more. There is a song of mine that anybody, oh wow, the tape that it's on has 13 tracks. There it is again. It's the Milabs tape, or My Labs, or however people want to say it, MILABS. I'm looking at it, but I can't think of how to say the letters. But the first song is titled Soft Disclosure. Now my first album was titled Full Disclosure, and it was dedicated to Max Spears.
Oh, wow.
And I put his picture on the front cover. Why? Because I wanted people to say, who is this guy? And I wanted them to listen, and I wanted them to hear me say it, and I wanted them to Google it and go and find it. So this last one, the third tape in the series, is dedicated to Carla Turner, because I came across her work at the same time I came across Max's, and it put a lot of puzzle pieces together for me. Pieces of the puzzle that I was holding for many years, and I didn't know what to do with these strange memories and things that were just inexplainable. And they helped me to put some context into it. And then I read the stories of what happened to them as a result of them putting forth this information. And I wrote this song at the start of this one. It's called Soft Disclosure, because just like you were saying, people don't realize what's coming out. They don't realize what's going in. And for anybody that's listening, I'm editing the episode with Truth Seeker, who is, do you know the artist Truth Seeker? Okay. So
well, I know the YouTube guy.
Truth Seeker, he's got his podcast and he he does music and this and that. Well, he's also, he considers himself a Christian mystic, and me and him can vibe really well because he's not super religious as far as like.
Oh, I've been on his show. I've done.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. So I don't try to knock his religion. He doesn't try to knock my whatever I am, and it's cool, and we can exist and have a conversation. And I just want to say that for the religious people that may have seen that episode prior to this one that are here because they watched the Truth Seeker episode, Jesus said in the Bible, he said, it's not what's on the outside of the cup that messes everything up. It's what's on the inside. It's not what goes into your mouth. It's not what you eat that defiles the body. It's what comes out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. And that's actually in the Bible. And I would know because I spent a lot of years in the Bible reading the whole thing, unlike most of the people who proclaim to believe it. But I did, and it's in there, and you should go look it up. In line with what Laura was just saying, because we don't think about what's going in. We don't think about what's going out. We don't realize that we're under this control. So I write this song called Soft Disclosure. And it says, X-Files with soft disclosure. It's fucking with your brain. It's designed to acclimate you to the slow-moving brigade of alien composers who are conducting everything so that you never notice just how fucking strange the world has become as slowly they invade another movie to confuse you so you don't know what to say. As full disclosure movements start to expose the game, you see they want you to believe I am just insane.
Whoa.
And it goes on, but it's just, this is the stuff that I thank you for bringing up these topics of conversation, so to speak, for opening the door for there to be a discussion to be had at all. And for you and just, I guess, everybody that you're presenting with out there, y'all, I see y'all as on the front lines in this war. Oftentimes you're kind of spread out and alone. And if it wasn't for y'all, it just, there would be nobody fighting back, because nobody would know that they need to fight. They wouldn't know that there's something to do. And I salute all of you. That's why I dedicated these albums of mine to those who have met with harsher ends than some people have, that are out there still fighting. And I look at the Jesus story again, and I think, I bet if his 12 disciples and all those multitudes of people who thought he was God, I bet if they would have said, nah, you're not killing him today, Romans, then it would have been a different story. But he was looking around and he's like, oh, friends, and they're like, we all know you're getting crucified today, Jesus, you crazy. And so now we have that whole story that we all know. And apparently there was somebody way back in the day with some name that the government didn't like, and they crucified him. And it was this big thing that we're still talking about. I don't know how true the rest of the narrative is, but that part seems pretty intact. And apparently he was a powerful soul, because we got churches everywhere, but not powerful enough, because if you distract people enough, if you cover over the truth enough, because you can't actually harm the truth, but if you cover over it enough, people can't see beneath the surface to see it, then what you get is people with a form of godliness, but they have none of the power that's within that. And for me, it began with the memories, and the memories came back in such intensity to where it evolved into this understanding. It's not even a belief, this understanding of who I am and why I'm here. And why am I here? I'm here on purpose to assist those of you who are already on the front lines. I'm making my way, and I'm trying to bring the rest of the tribe with me so that y'all don't have to deal with shadow bans from this network or that website or this or that.
Yeah.
Because the name of the company is Omniversal Media. And I fully intend to use every bit of skill, talent, whatever I was gifted with, to use this hawk's eye view that I have on the world and find those others out there who are similarly aligned, and to band together and to form our own media company that overrides these other, the what is it, 6 media companies that own the whole thing worldwide. Well, I'm glad they built all the infrastructure, because now I'm going to take it and use it as a tool, and they're just going to be rendered obsolete. Why? Because nobody will listen to them. Why? Because they're going to have things that somebody, I don't know how often you get this. I imagine it's a lot, and I feel like I'm talking a whole lot, so I'm gonna stop after this.
Oh,
But
no, it's fine. I talk a lot, and I like to listen to what you have to say, of course.
the
It just a lot of thoughts come to my mind and all that you share. What I really appreciate is that people sometimes assume that if we do an event with somebody that maybe they don't like, that we all must be lumped in that category. There's maybe an ego, a big ego that is looking for the money or is more interested in maybe the attention. It kind of makes everybody else look bad, because and those that are super intuitive know that the most of us, it's not about that. And it is a war zone. It is a battleground. It is really, really tough to be on the front lines. And some people kind of create a projection at times. And those that really get it are folks like you. You have your own story, really incredible story. I'd love to interview you someday and just, expose your podcast more to, my network. And then I will, in sharing this, and also your music. And anyway, there are a lot of people that really just don't get that. And those that do, there's a lot of them that really do see, how tough it is, how heartbreaking it is, how shattering it is to, lose a platform or lose something that you've invested, like 10 years into.
Yeah.
And one should have the hindsight, right? It's like, okay, New World Order probably comes with censorship. So it's always good to back up files. But I tried to download everything from social media. It never came like it said it would. I had even good friends delete a huge amount of my material that was going to be a book. So it's not just the big tech people that are messing with us. Sometimes
it's those Jesus disciple friends
turn on you.
Yeah, those
Right?
12
And even
disciples.
what some of Jesus's disciples did. I mean, you never know when somebody is going to be infected by an archonic force or an entity, and all of a sudden do a 360-degree turn, 180, whatever, and all of a sudden not be that friend or that person that you thought was your friend. Yeah. And that to me is worse than anything. It's pretty obvious, when censorship starts to rear its ugly head, that, okay, save files, hard drive, get on alternative platforms. They're not easy to build, but it's awesome that you're doing that. I've been trying to build stuff. I'm jumping around, finding better ones, better options. But to me, the most devastating is when those close to you, like a lot of my exes, it's not that they're bad people, but they were not able to handle the targeting on them because I'm a voice. I'm not trying to say anything, different about me than, maybe some stuff with the Eisenhower lineage being recruited to go to Mars. But everybody's got their story, and anybody who's willing to speak about it ends up being targeted, and they target friends and loved ones to go against you. The minute you choose to have a voice, you're in a vulnerable position, no doubt. That's why the alternative media is really important. So I appreciate, what you understand about that, the platform that you're holding, and how much you're trying to bring people, into that level of safety, coming in after witnessing and watching what's really happening and getting on board. And that's so huge and such an example. I've tried a lot of alternate platforms, trying to build my BitChute, trying to build my podcast. My biggest one is YouTube, and I can barely share anything there. I mean, I just got another strike.
Yeah.
I got a few warnings.
Yeah, that part of the video I watched earlier, I was listening. I was like, oh, well, I'm working on this and everything. And I just
I'm like,
saw
I better
it all
just leave
done.
it at that. Then I was like really starting to go off, and I'm like, well, just come to the website. And and I know some people, it's like they look at like some money being charged, and I don't always do that at all. But I mean, I'm reinvesting in things like retreat centers, and just this helps me to do what I do, and it comes with some reading time. So does the subscription. And, anyway, it's like, look at what people invest in. They have to realize what you invest in is the reality that you're participating in. It creates energetic cords.
Yep.
So a lot of people that complain about those of us that might need a little assistance here and there, or might charge something, you are out buying things every day. You put food on your table. What's wrong with herbs and supplements and sharing products that are healthy, or doing something that takes hours and hours and years of research and connecting dots to want to help out a little bit? And so I'm not speaking to your audience, I'm sure, or anybody that might be listening. And I don't need to bring up all the rare few that do complain. But I just want to say I really appreciate those who get it, those who give support, because it really goes back to the people. It goes back into being service to humanity.
I mean, as you said, people are spending excess amount of money on stuff that they don't need. That's probably anti-human.
Please shouldn't be asking for anything, because this is spiritual work. And I'm like, so it makes more sense to sell out to the Matrix and get paid.
Yeah.
It's like nobody wants to be in the money system who's an awakened being. We're not out of the woods yet. We're trying to transition out of that. But until then, it's like, I say, well, have you ever gotten a paycheck for the work you've done? Was that a service orientated business, or were you exploiting people? Is that better to make money for that? That's like at the low level of being a pimp or something.
Yeah.
So, but I don't say all that. Here I am saying.
Well, it's my intention to build a platform to not only to find souls like you who carry these codes, this medicine, and to give them a platform that and I don't know all of the steps along the way. I just know the ultimate intention is to have it to be as untouchable as these huge conglomerates are today.
So important.
Yo, this is Hawkeye, and these are my incantations. A little bit of word magic for you. Yo, when these lyrics hit your ear, they interfere with what you hear, cause Hawkeye's back attacking queers. These tracks are packed with facts, my dear. My tongue attracts you with its clear combat vernacular skill, cause even Dracula can feel my fucking black magic is still much too real for him to kill. Powers I wield seal the deal. For the incantations done, I'll probably reveal that I am thrilled to put the devil in his place and make several different faiths reassess the situation. All creation hesitates when I speak. All seven great spirits leave from heaven's gates to make sure they can hear this lyrical genius create. Song too loud to be turned down. All around who hear the sound of my voice have no choice but to be proud of these profound bars I spit to case the demons verses say it. With vehement words I work around the clock to overcomplicate the meaning of each lock you see me cleaning. Yeah, they ought to stop believing that I won't cock it back and squeeze off a few shots before I leave. I'm the warden with the keys around my neck, respect it please, or I'll infect each fucking section with selections up my sleeve and inject a cure for free to resurrect you whores and seize your collective means of protective measures. Here's what you'll need if you want to survive. Every one of you hide beneath the covers when you see me walking by, or you'll die. Teach each other to fear the birds of prey and steer clear of attracting attention. Oh, did I mention don't draw near to the doors of your cell, cause you just thought this was hell. But I can tell you all that Satan's not doing too well. Yeah, he's a bit under the weather. All you demons should pray that you don't piss me off and let me hear you speak in his name. This binding spell can't be broken, so you can't escape, but I can alter it a bit if you wanna be brave. Your leader has been digging graves every day, and I'll lay you all down in them one by one. If you stray, you never thought I'd return, but now you're all gonna learn why Hawkeye is the warlord flicking ashes and herms. My tongue of fire, it burns, and why you perspire, I yearn to remind you fucking puppets what's required. In turn, it's my desire to make sure that all you liars are spurned, instead of worshipped by these serpent-led choirs. Discern just what inspired my words. Earth is tired of germs, psychically infecting minds of humans wired from birth to reject all recollection of their soul and its worth. That's why I'm here to resurrect my tribe and get directly to work.
And so that's the ultimate intention of this whole idea that dropped into my mind one day randomly as a fully formed idea. Podcasts, books, this and that. Just the whole idea was like to be that umbrella. And not like in the horror movie, the Resident Evil stuff, the Umbrella Corporation, like an actual umbrella to shield you from the reign of terror on our psyche. I don't know. Because to
really,
me,
really well put. Oh my God.
to me,
Is that your subtitle? Because it should be.
I mean, it could be.
Make a shirt.
Yeah, I've been editing these recordings that I've got. I've just been working on it like a mad person, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having to teach myself because I don't have the money to pay anybody. This is all costing me money,
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I'm investing my money into it because to me it's more important for me to be doing this stuff than it is for me to go to my job that pays my bills, because I don't really care about any of that stuff. It's just stuff I have to do. But this is what I need to do, and most of this year I've spent in a terrible depression. I've been very, very suicidal. I've been targeted. What do they call it? The suicide
Program.
But yeah, the where they trigger you. They trigger
Oh
it.
dear. Oh gosh.
So that's been going on with me all year, and up until very recently, I have been unable to stay out of that for more than a few days at a time, and I just go right back into that downward spiral. But recently, I've gotten back into doing this, and I'm filming, recording, editing, working on the website, this and that. And I find that I don't have any time to have all of these crazy mind games go on.
See, that's brilliant. That's therapy that keeps you in alignment with the mission. And I mean, that's really my sanity is I just can't stop. I mean, I need a break every once in a while. I do all my tech stuff. I invest in everything I do. I can't hire people. I don't have an assistant. People think I have some big team. And when they email me, they're like, can you please pass this message on to Laura? I'm like, this is Laura. I'm like, I don't have a secretary. I don't have an assistant.
Who could you trust? I mean, who could you trust to do that?
Yeah, everybody that's ever came to help me, they were not able to really hold their ground because there are dark forces that want to compromise them, watch themselves, and then they're like, oh my God, I don't know what came over me. And some of us really bring out the worst in people because this dark technology is really powerful. Those that are willing to have a voice, the ones close to us have to know that they might be targeted to target us. And when they start to have a voice, they're going to have to face the same thing. But in working together with mutual love and respect in the way that you're holding this kind of space with your transparency, honesty, and genuine, beautiful heart, and just us all working together, that is what's going to crush this. Because look at how much divide and conquer actually got into the disclosure kind of communities and the so-called, higher consciousness. I saw a lot of that at events between friends, and I just refuse to go there. Every time I do by accident, just because I'm exhausted or it's just coming at me and I'm just torn between friends and I refuse to choose sides. Sometimes I might have a little vent and then I delete it off of social media. And I really am just trying to not laugh at anybody, but I want to just call it out and be like, stop.
Yeah. It's really childish when you step back away from it and you look at it. It's like, are we in kindergarten again?
For that.
Yeah.
We're in a critical time right now. We're all doing research about this stuff and exposing this. Don't you realize that they're trying to get at us? Like, you got to be stronger than that. And sometimes I feel really weakened. I get really sad. And sometimes I just don't want to get out of bed. It's like, I don't want to face another day of this lower level BS when we got bigger war that we need to contend with, this is how we win the wars, to cut it out. So I love all that you're saying. And, and I know the programmings that you're talking about. And I know you've reached out to me a few times, and I hope I always get back to you in a timely way. Sometimes I miss messages.
You actually, earlier this year, I don't know if someone reached out to you or this or that, but or you saw some post of mine, but I was really close to the edge, and you text me randomly and asked if I was okay. I think I said something like, oh, "No, life sucks," and you were like, "Yeah, I know it does, doesn't it?" And it was whatever I needed to hear, because it made me laugh, and I was like, she's a real human being. She gets it too, which I already know that, because I mean, I can't walk around saying that I'm Hawkeye with a hawk's eye view on the world unless I am able to see, and I'm able to see that the problem is that there are too few people like you that are willing to be transparent, as you said, and to display something that resembles humanity, because I don't know what most of this shit is.
All right.
I really don't. And most people, if they were serious with themselves, and again, that's just the point of this podcast as a whole, is to have conversations with people about the stuff that's beneath the surface that we all see and we all know is there, but we never talk about with anybody out loud, and we only ever think it, and we keep our mouth shut, because until we open our mouth, they're going to keep it clamped with our own, they're going to use our own lips to keep our lips closed. They're going to convince us just to wear a mask, just to get vaccinated, just to, go bury your son or this or that. Why? Because, the COVID. Forget all of the other stuff going on and forget this and get on the bus. We're going to the detainment camp. Why? Because it's all written down in the files and you can go look it up and read it. And it's on its way. It's here. It's coming. And what is everybody doing? The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
Let's just put our heads in the sand and look at the false movements and the psyops that are distracting everybody away from really paying attention to what's going on around them. And it really takes till it really hits home for a person to wake up. It has to be a family member dying, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, where you really recognize the anomalies. And these aren't conspiracy anomalies that you have to process. This is basic common sense. In a lot of ways. And I don't want to say that to undermine anybody. I have a lot of friends and family that made that choice. This last 2 years, I've been so beyond devastated. And, I'd love to just snap my fingers and just be neutral and be like, oh, well, I tried to warn them. No, it's like, and I'm not going to say anything after the fact. I just want them to feel my love, my compassion, my understanding. And I want to empower whatever choice they made, because our belief systems and the mind control, to me, when it drops down into the lower mind control indoctrination, to me, that is the ultimate bioweapon. Once a person breaks that programming, I feel that the bioweapons and whatever they've allowed into their body can begin to work itself out. I truly believe that. So how are they going to possibly have that breakthrough if there's more divide and conquer, right? They might reject me because I'm not going along with them, but I'll never reject them. So there's a lot of family that have made decisions that I wouldn't have made, but we're still tight. We still love each other, because I refuse to just be like, oh, well, I told you so. And they refuse to make me feel bad, but they're worried about me because they think I should do it. And I'm worried about them because I know what, comes with this. And I know they're not going to be watching the documentaries that we know are out there. And I hope to God no family listens to this podcast, because I just know that love and the force of Ophiuchus, the ether energy, the mother, father, cosmic trinity, Christ Sophia, which exists within our DNA. When we switch that on, when we truly align with spirit, it holds dominion over physical matter and bioweapons. Yeah. I really feel, and I redundantly say, and it's just a little becoming my catchphrase. I don't know if anybody else has said it, but we are the 5D towers. 5D connects with our throat chakra, the fifth element ether. When we speak these truths, we can begin to de-weaponize the weapons. We can begin to de-weaponize each other because everybody's being pit against each other. We can break that. Once we break the programming, the bioweapons don't work as much, and we begin to turn that lead into gold. That's what alchemy is. That's what Ophiuchus is all about. And Pluto. We've been dealing with major plutonic energies. Just going through Scorpio season, the Pluto-Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in 2019, we're constantly facing Pluto, right? And when Pluto is afflicted, you know, especially if there's suicide programs, it's just like the body desires to follow the soul going through that dark night of the soul, or that I can't freaking take it anymore. Or if one was in those projects or programs, you know, how they don't want you to snap out of it and wake up, because you become the override frequency and you begin to de-weaponize those that were involved too. So, you know, you're incredibly strong to just keep breathing through it. And I'm always here for you.
I appreciate it. I'm just, so I'm here talking with you, and initially I had you written down in my notes, my big giant list of stuff to get done 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever 2019 was. I have trouble keeping up with time. I think we're skipping through time. I don't know. Way back when I wrote it down, you were the first one on the list. I was like, we're going to do this episode about this and this and this, and that's going to start it all off. And so here we are. Maybe it's out of order. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What matters is that here we are, and I'm realizing as I'm speaking with you that this is what I'm going, not only what I'm going to continue to do, it's what I have to do, but it's also what I want to do. It's what I need to do. This is the next step, and this is the time to take those steps. And it's been coming through really strong over the last few weeks for me. This kind of spurred me into action, but just all of those dots that I said you connected earlier on, just every time you open your mouth, it's a bunch of dots connecting for me, and it's the picture's indescribable in the human language, but it's exactly what I need to see. And you have this ability to either consciously on purpose say the right words at the right time, or you just speak and it happens to line up with those who are in tune with it. But
well, that's really sweet.
I'm sure you get that a lot.
Oh, well, I get so, okay, I need to integrate that and just really take it to heart, and I do, but sometimes I just am so self-critical, or I'm so used to attacks and trolls that I kind of lose my sense of self in it all. And I'm just like, you know, I'm not being effective. Everybody says I talk too fast, or I'm a little off, or, you know, why don't you do this different? And sometimes that rings in my ear, brings up childhoods, you know, I'm human in that way. And so it means a lot. And I know it means especially a lot coming from you. So, and I get a lot of beautiful, amazing support. I have such wonderful friends. It's just every time I post on Telegram, I lose like 100 subscribers. I'm like, is it something I said, or are they just bots?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe they're just bots.
I really don't care. I just, you know, quality is better than quantity. I'm not here for fame. I just want the message to go out there. I'm not like one that wanted to ever be a public person, but I knew that I needed to share what I need to share in the world, whether it's behind a screen or whether I show my face. It didn't matter. Numbers are more for the mission, and I just want the message to get out there. It has nothing to do with me. But yeah, it's kind of weird being born into this family that has had so many false narratives and lies cast upon it that I really have no choice, just like you feel you have no choice. And it's what I love to do. It's all I know to do. It's what I came here to do. But sometimes I'm just like, I guess can't do this. And then it's like 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, on to the next.
That's how my weeks, my last few weeks have been. I get overwhelmed. Like, I've got this editing software. I don't know how to use it. I'm overwhelmed. And 5 minutes later, I'm diving back into it. And
yeah. And then sometimes like, you know what? I'm out of here. Or then, you know, and I even called in spirits, and I've been invoking them for a while. And it's the most unusual thing that's really ever happened to me, even, you know, and I won't get into it, but, and then sometimes, you know, it's like, besides that, just these incredible spirits came to visit me after this Star Knowledge conference I went to. And it was like what you would see. I mean, like you almost feel like it could touch you. I mean, the colors, you could see full formed people. And I tried to record it, and I'm just like, this is nuts. And that's why I posted. I'm like, oh my God, be careful of this tea. And it like wasn't. I'm like, got to be very careful when you have this tea. And then I
So-
called the company. I'm like, do you realize like you're just anybody can just get this tea? Like, how do they function? And then they're like, hi, I think you had a legitimate experience. But I guess my point is yeah, I mean, it's a part of coping, but I know that I have to stop myself from certain thought forms when I really say like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. I have to stop myself. I'm like, cancel, clear, delete. I didn't mean that. I don't want to manifest, when I am like in the throes of death, because I die all the time, that I'm actually going to leave, because sometimes my husband literally has to like hold me like down and let me like to come back into my body. Cause I'm like, I don't know if you should call it paramedics. I mean, this happens way too often. It's really kind of freaky. And I know what you described, is very similar. We all kind of are hitting those energies. And I'm very used to the Pluto energy, like my whole life with all the Scorpio Pluto stuff I have in my chart as is. But yeah, lately, I don't know if it's just an upgrade, initiation, just moving through the next level. It's a little bit of both because, when we get attacked, when there is opposition, that is also initiation because then we get stronger, we get over the hurdle, we move through it, right?
Mhm.
So that's a big time of being tested. But very often it's just easy to just be like, oh my God, can I just have a break? And it's been really intense how close to death. And then, I mean, just not wanting to be here, just wanting just to be out of here. And so when you hit those energies, does it feel like, there's some tech or it's a voice in your head or is it something in your conscience or both?
Honestly, it
I
always
don't
seems
get the tech thing because I didn't go through the MyLab stuff or that kind of stuff, but I was pre-targeted before birth to go off planet so that I wouldn't be here to do my mission. So it comes with its own set of insanity.
for me, it always seems to creep in the back door of my mind, and it's in control before I even realize that I've let myself slip. And then the interesting part, I don't want to focus so much on how insidious it is when it's
I know, I didn't mean to ask you that question.
No. I don't want to focus on how insidious it is when it's creeping in the back door. I want to focus on how quickly it disperses when I just I run across the right tree or something hits me to like give me a breath, to put the spirit back in me, to turn the light on, and suddenly it's like, oh, I remember who I am again. What the fuck was I doing over here?
Oh, wow.
And it's the intense polarity of that, I guess you could say, that lets me know that it's definitely not just it's progressed to the point now to where I'm not getting directly attacked. I'm getting backdoor hacked, so to speak, because they gotta use these hands to get to me at this point.
Oh, wow.
And so if I can just keep that focus and stay aligned with what I'm really here to do, which is things like this, any of these creative endeavors that I've got my hands in. I'm writing books, I'm making music, I'm recording this, I'm trying to do the business stuff, all of that. If I could stay focused on that, then I don't find myself waking up saying I hate my life because I got to go to work to barely pay these bills and not have any money. I'll just wake up and go to work and think about what I'm going to do when I get home so I can get to work. And like today, I got home at 12:30 in the afternoon. Went in at 8, home at 12:30, working on my stuff. Now, did I manifest that or is it just coincidence? It doesn't matter. What matters is I posted the episode. It'll be up on Friday. I've halfway edited the next one. I did all that
So
just
rewarding.
today. And it is. It really is. And who knows? Maybe
Especially
nobody
when you're
ever.
just kind of learning as you're going. Like I was like, I can't do tech stuff. And there's that can't that one should do, right? And then instead of relying on anybody, and when I was trying to work with people, it didn't really work out. I know there's some really good ones that could have come along or I could have worked with, but it just synchronicities, I think, exposed me to the ones that weren't really helpful, that kind of ripped me off, so that maybe I would just be like, all right, I'm going to do it myself. And then in 24 hours, I learned how to do my website, thecosmicguy.org. I do all of it. My podcast, there is a podcast platform, but I figured out most of the tech stuff, the customer service pretty much sucks. So I have to kind of be the customer service even for them because they're not really answering questions. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm here to learn what I didn't think I could actually do. And instead of feeling overwhelmed by it, I let it be rewarding too. And when I had jobs, like even a landscaper, I love landscaping, but it was like, 5 a.m, work really hard for, less than $10 an hour, come home, pick my kids up for their after school care, covered in dirt, passed out on the freaking couch with my kids wanting to play with me and give them attention. But I didn't have a community. I didn't have, a partner, and it was just all me. And they just remember I just be like, just covered from head to toe in dirt. And then I'd have to throw myself in the bath, drink some water. So I'm not, because there was a drought, and go back to work the next day. And it was the mission. It was just my love of my children. But this was before I was a public person. It helped to be in nature because I did a lot of jobs like cleaning hotel rooms, and those were pretty rough. But like, wait a second, I can listen to music and I can, it's like
you find a balance.
You gotta make it work. You have to have a bigger picture that you look forward to every day, like you're saying. Yeah. And then eventually the mission begins to create enough abundance to be able to move away from some of those jobs. It takes a while, but it happens.
And that's where I find myself today, right here at the start of what your video is about, the Ophiuchus thing, and the period of time there with the 17th, 18th being in part of that. And then the number 13 flipping through my mind channel for the last few weeks, just randomly, unbidden, but they're all the same. The message has been, stop worrying about the bills that you're behind on. Stop worrying about how much you don't like work. Focus on this. Focus on doing this stuff that you've been wanting to do, because the only reason you feel the way that you feel is because you're not doing the stuff that the real you within you is wanting to do and needs to do. All this other stuff, it's going to change very quickly, and you're not going to have to worry about any of that, because you're going to have to worry about a lot more other stuff aligned with this mission, this path that you're on. And if you don't walk the path, how is anybody else going to walk it? Because look around, there's this person over here, there's Laura over here, there's these people over here. Then there's that group of those, well, I'm not sure about them. They're scattered all about, people that are doing what they can. And it's just kind of like there's 6 people with sticks out there to fend off the army. But at least those 6 people are there.
Right.
Standing up for something. And that's like, can we all get sticks together and join them?
Right.
We don't, we're all gonna, and so I see myself at this turning point in my life. And when I step back and kind of look at everything I've accomplished, I realize that I don't consciously notice it as it's happening. I don't consciously realize that I have 3 physical CDs that I wrote and recorded and produced and all of this and that by myself and turned into physical CDs. And then I did all of that in like 2 years. I went from I can't rap to that. Now I could always play music with the guitar. I can't sing, I can't rap, but now apparently I can. And new album's coming up soon. The first podcast episode was me talking for 2.5 hours to myself about how we oftentimes shadow ban ourselves from ourselves. We don't let ourselves see our true self beneath the surface. And the programming in our mind just make sure that we don't ever see that part of our news feed.
Yeah, beautifully put.
And so I went from can't rap to that, because that's the name of the next album. And I'm doing this and editing everything. And it's kind of like I think I got this analogy from some video of yours, something on YouTube I saw years and years ago. You were talking about the nanotechnology and this and that. And you referenced an apple, and you said, if I have a choice between such and such or whatever in this apple, I don't care if the apple has GMOs or this or that, because it's an apple, just the fact that it's an apple. it has enough life force energy, and this is just me paraphrasing what I took from what you said, because I can't remember verbatim. It was years ago.
So I'm like, I don't.
It's out there. I've seen it. And what you're saying is, you're saying apple came from a tree. It's natural. It has actual life force energy in it. And at the end of the day, if it's all that I have to eat, then I'm going to trust the intelligence and energetics of the apple and of that tree and of nature along to mesh with my system here and to purge out the negative
Exactly. Well,
parts of it. Because when you cut you cut your finger or your hand, you can't will it to heal. You can't make it heal, and you can't stop it either. It's going to heal unless you die or something. But that's just the natural way. Things just heal. They put themselves back together again. You chop down a tree, sometimes it just grows back. Sometimes you chop down a tree, and I've done this, or I've watched somebody do this. Chop down a tree, drill holes in it, pour salt on it, it grows back. Why? Because it wants to live, and it's going to live. It decided it's going to live, and it doesn't care. So life is alive and existence exists, and that's the end of the story. So
that's amazing. Yeah, and that is very much a great metaphor to describe what I feel about the fact that we're all surrounded by bioweapons. If you didn't get the jab, we are surrounded by spike proteins and shutters and 5G anyway. And we've been inhaling the nanoparticles and heavy metals from the skies being sprayed, the geoengineering. All our food is somewhat tainted because the soil, no matter how organic it is, has still been infected by all this stuff. So our consciousness is everything. And the revelation for people really has to be that. So if your consciousness is slipping down into divide and conquer and self-negation, and that's easy for all of us, but running a sub-personality based in what's trending, what movements are out there kind of pushing, Black Lives Matter. Well, of course, Black Lives Matter. But why is it starting to create more division than allowing Black Lives Matter to remind us all of how to come together? Why did it create so much division, right? And things related to climate change. Why is there more division than ever? And the leftists and the Democrats that are connected to the globalists, why are they pushing it so much? And why are hippies and even, those that consider themselves energy workers and shamans that might not really be the real deal, but, their intention is in the right place. Why are they jumping on board these things when they're not looking closely at the characters behind this? Because anybody in their right mind is going to care about the environment, care about the earth, care about their children.
Because life
you don't
matters.
need a movement to remind you of it to the point where it becomes political and it causes division. And it turns into this battle because you're not standing up for Greta? It's like, oh, don't even get me started on this. I can't even say how dare you anymore without thinking of her. I'm like, oh, can't say that. Or
it's become a meme.
Come on, man. I think of I'm like, oh my God. But it's like well-intentioned people that are environmentalists are falling for it because they target whatever they see is the awakening. They weaponize it by creating false movements, and they pick on and pick out historical wounds, traumas, and things that we've been working on healing. The sacred union relationship with the masculine and feminine, the inner relationship with the masculine and feminine, embracing androgyny, and also same-sex relationships, never been an issue, but they are making movements out of it to create division when these things, you can't even say anything anymore. All this, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. I mean, it's the most immature, pathetic fucking thing. I'm calm.
It is. It really is. I mean, that's just the truth.
They're well-intentioned, but seriously, wake up. You don't see you're being played. Look at how you're treating other people. You're jumping all over them. What? Because they didn't, they're not doing what you're doing. They're not all into the leftist thing, and they're not all about Biden and the celebrities that are pushing this bullshit. It's like, how can you be trusting these people? Why aren't you listening to Kathy O'Brien? Why aren't you listening to, all these people that have been telling their stories, that are real individuals that have gone through things like MK Ultra and SRA, and your bravery and others that are stepping up and doing podcasts. I've been doing shows for a long time too. It's just like, what is wrong with these people? And I don't want to sound judgmental, so I have to,
No, well, I'll be judgmental for you. The thing is that I knew that I was onto something, that I was really onto something when I first tried to schedule out these calls with people back 2020, start of 2020, early on, because I was jumping on the idea, and I immediately met so much psychic pushback that I don't have words to describe it. It went on for months until I eventually backed away, because I literally got to the point to where I was unnaturally terrified to pursue even my music. It was just this weird dimensional slippage type experience, and it was directly related to it. And then again, I tried to jump back into it, and especially when I would try to either get in contact with you, or I don't know if you remember, but I think we tried to schedule twice in the past over the last however many years it's been since 2019. But each time I had to be like, oh, I gotta cancel. Why? Because I found myself under so much attack, like direct psychic attack aimed directly at me, saying, if you do this, then we're going to do this. So don't pursue this route. And yet now here I am. And I was thinking right before you text me to ask if we were still on, I thought to myself, I should text and ask if we're still on. But now I was like, nah, I'll just show up. And if it happens, it happens. I hope it happens. Maybe it'll happen. It'll probably happen. But then right then my phone rang, and here we are. We made it. And
I'm so glad. And I think timing is really great.
yes.
You know, we've always been in touch and keeping up with each other. And
Speaking
I
of
wouldn't say that
timing,
it doesn't mean that the timing wouldn't have been great then, but
Mhm.
now we're more in a flow, we're more in touch, and we can do this more often, I hope. I mean, I'd love to
Oh,
invite
yeah.
you online. And yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's wild how that can happen. Some of the most important things, there's delays. Sometimes it's because of divine timing, sometimes because there's interference and opposition that doesn't want to see something happen. But regardless, we're not
The tree grows back.
victim to it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what tries to get in the way. The more they try and stop us, the stronger we get. I mean, I did a presentation called Upgrading in the Face of Adversity. Everything that tries to take us down can only make us stronger, can only make us more aware, can only make us more in our passion and inspiration. And if it does the opposite and you get weakened to the point of giving up, you know, reach out for, you know, somebody who gets it, because we all have those moments, right? And when I do, yeah, I'm grateful that I don't always have to pick up myself by myself. You know, there's people that understand, and it's usually very temporary, because it's very easy to just think, oh, wait,
yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. But, you know, sometimes, you know, let's all admit it, it's not so easy for whatever reason. I mean, if it's not just dealing with these galactic wars and how they have manifest on a ground level and everything that we're seeing in the world, sometimes it's a breakup, sometimes it's the loss of a father, mother, brother, sister. You know, we don't know how severe the pain and trauma any one of us is going through. And to expect us all to move through it on our own is not what, to me, the human experience is about.
No, it's not at all. I took this directly from you. I know, because you're the only person I've ever heard say it. We're the immune system of the planet, and the trees don't grow individually. The rain doesn't fall in individual drops here and there, just isolated, because then the tree wouldn't get watered. And if one tree grows and no other tree grows, then we all can't breathe. And likewise, if your immune system only has one cell that's actively fighting, it's useless.
Oh,
So
cool. I don't remember quite putting it like that, but I love the way you just
no, I took it further. But the immune system of the planet, humanity being the immune system of the planet from these forces, because they're obviously not after us. It seems to me that we're in the way of whatever they're after. And so that just lends credence to the idea of how powerful we truly are when we tap into it. We're so much more than all that comes against us. But if we could band together a little more and you know, just somebody just lean on all that.
yeah.
If we could do that for one another on the regular, all of us together, then I think we find that it's a lot more like a party down here than it is a hellscape.
Enslavement prison camp.
All right.
So, but go ahead.
I was going to ask if you had anything that you wanted to add
When
here?
I say humanity is the immune system of the planet, I mean, obviously the planet has its own immune system. It's a very well-functioning organism. It's got nature, the web of life. But humanity, because we are born with DNA and galactic chakras and also the 7 chakras, right? Root chakra. We are a living replica of the planetary grid network, the planetary body, and the multidimensional cosmos, right? So if we are being siphoned off of and harvested, if we are linked into the matrix, a vampiric system that's sucking us dry, we're going to notice that the resources on this planet are mirroring this, because it is an outward expression of our unhealthy soul that is not integrated enough into our ego to be able to be a conduit of healthy energy that we can transmit and generate and also receive from the earth. So I feel the earth responds to us when we clear and purify our inner elementals, earth, air, fire, water, especially with the ether energy coming in. We heal the toxicity in the nucleic acids of our DNA, which are based in earth, air, fire, water. All the nucleic acids are. And when we purify it, I feel the earth responds to us. We clear the waters, we clear the air, we heal the fire, and we regenerate the earth. And that's when we heal, right? So the earth has no choice but to respond to us. That's when we begin to move into higher earth energies, because we did the inner work. We are the ascension. We are the shift.
Yes.
The earth responds to us. So even if we witness, no matter how healthy we are, a degenerating, digressing human race and some negative things, there is a bifurcation happening, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have to be on this trajectory. We are trying as much as we can to pull people over to where we are. And you said that earlier about your show, right?
Yeah.
That's what we've been trying to do. But there's going to be a point at which there will be a bridge between the bifurcation, but there's going to be a point in which the two different timelines are so far apart that the bridge is a lot longer to walk back and forth on, that it's going to take a big team of willing spirit guides to help these people get pulled out of the enslavement that they are consenting to, because they're buying into the facades of the false authority that is giving them a false sense of security with these bioweapons and all this bullshit. Now, those that have gotten it, that might be listening to this, do not fear. If you're awake and you're in that higher frequency, out of that mind control and social engineering, I truly know and believe that you will heal and recover. And I say redundantly, one of my favorite shows was Ripley's Believe It or Not. They're eating light bulb. They're doing stuff that humans shouldn't be doing because they figured out mind over matter.
Mm-hmm.
Humans need to figure that out. Okay, maybe it was a trick of the camera and I was just a kid going like, holy crap. But some, do it live. Maybe it's an illusion. But
how big is this trick of the
miracles happen? Miracles are real. Miracles are real. Spirit holds dominion over physical matter. It is the higher frequency that overrides bioweapons, all dark technology. And if we can align with that, there's nothing we can't cure or overcome or heal. And I truly feel that. And it's more than a belief, because the stuff that I've healed, it's a miracle. And just both of us being here, many of you guys listening, let's look at the miracles that we've survived and gone through, and we're still here and we're together. And I know I got to go soon, but this has been so much fun. But any final, go ahead.
I'm going to ask you one thing, and then I'm going to get you to share some of these healing modalities or the tools that you have that could help people to kind of detox from these things or heal. And the question is, I couldn't be there for the Star Knowledge Conference this year. So how was it?
Oh, it's just amazing. Nikki Zephyr, Chief's daughter, put it on. A lot of Zephyr family members, grandson of Chief Golden Light Eagle, some of his brothers, his sister, Nikki's children, grandchild, more family members. They all spoke. Senior Gigio and James Dean's Sun Yoga, they're musicians, rappers, hip hop artists. You would love them.
And the ones I saw in the videos, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they're amazing. So I want to feature your stuff too. And this is what's really exciting to me, because to be able to awaken people through music and art and this level of creativity is so much fun. It's so inspiring and it's so honest and it's so real. When we went they went, and I had changed my ticket. They went to one of the junior high schools. It might've been more than that, in the reservation, right? In Pickstown, South Dakota. Senior Gigio and James Dean's Sun Yoga, they brought the music and they grabbed the microphone and they were doing hip hop rapping. They went into the bleachers, kids started dancing, and they're listening to the lyrics and they get so excited, right? And it's just like, wow, you know, standing here, you know, just talking about stuff with a microphone probably isn't going to be as effective as having music. So I want to create more events where there's speakers and artists and music. And I find, you know, I don't want to be boring. And I know I go off into like really weird, like self-deprecating humor sometimes. And I don't mean to.
We all
like,
do.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, I don't mean it in a bad, like,
Yeah.
terrible way. I mean, I have my issues, but you know, it's like there has to be laughter and music. That is what's going to really help the younger generations that are like, what is my mom and dad thinking? Why are they masking me? Why are they making me go to this horrible school that, you know, I feel so bad for the kids. And I see us, I see you, I see them, I see so many touching these younger generations through music, through poetry, through what you do, and whatever flavor and flair I can bring. You know, that's why I have gotten this land in Montana, and I'm going to create retreat centers and also educational systems and places where real medicine, real energy work can
The
take
stuff
place.
that we should all have already been
Yeah,
doing.
and we're going to
So
network
thank
with
you
people.
again.
Yeah, we're going to
Thank
network
you.
with people all over the world, and
Yeah.
you're a part of it. Everybody's a part of it, and you're doing, you know, we're all doing this, right? So you're only 33. I'm going to be 50, right? So this has taken my whole, you know, my kids are grown now, right? I'm like super old now, which is fun, but it's not, but it's fun. But yeah, now I'm finally in a position where I could do this. 5 years ago, are you kidding me? 6 years ago? No, I was on food stamps most of the time when my kids were being raised. If you told me, just calm down, in like 5-10 years, you're going to figure out how to do this. Now, what helped was synchronicities with the landowner who happened to follow my work. And he wouldn't probably cut this amount of slack of how I've been able to pay it off over the course of time with, you know, that's really not how he goes about things, but he is heart-centered enough to say, you know what? I love what you're doing. I love your family, and I want to go that extra mile to make sure I can make this happen for you. Cause I know you're
that's how
he
it
goes, I
happens.
know you're going to take care of the land, and I know that he goes, I know you need to be here. I was like,
Look what happens when humans work together.
They have to be human though. Some of them,
Yeah.
like the neighbors that surround us, they even, yeah, they're not on this level. They are trying to make our life miserable. So hopefully, because like we were talking about the immune system, the high vibration, all we need to do is raise the vibration, come together in unity. We don't have to battle these people. That
Come
energetic
together.
is going to starve the parasites, and it's going to eradicate them because they won't be able to handle it. If they drop our energy and put us in this need to battle them, then in a way, we're creating loosh, we're feeding them, we're giving them negative attention. Maybe they got negative attention growing up. Maybe they're super wounded and they decided to make a ton of money. They wanted to buy up the land in Montana and make everybody's life miserable. They're obviously hurt and damaged. So it doesn't do well to want to battle them back, even though sometimes I'm just like, it's better that we just come together. We do what we do. We love them, invite them over. Hey, you want to come and listen to the music?
The
And then they'll
override
be all
frequency.
grumpy, and maybe they'll end up moving out alone because they literally are trying to make our life miserable. But anyway, much love to them. I hope they do better. I know I gotta go, but go ahead.
I was going to get you to share some of the products that you mentioned.
You go to cosmicgaia.org. On my homepage, you'll see LifeWave patches. They're little patches that you put on your body. They activate stem cells. And there's a whole science behind it. You can.
Oh, I've heard of this. I've heard of
Yeah,
this.
they're really amazing. I've used them. I am out of them right now, and I just have stickers all over the place. And sometimes I forget I have them. People are like, "What is that? A nicotine patch?" I'm like, "No, it's this LifeWave patch." And then I get to tell them about it, and they're like, "Wow, okay, not that expensive, but you know, everything. It's better to invest in your health than your lack of health, because people, when they complain about money, they're often spending that money on, like we talked about. But that's okay. No judgment at all. Like, gosh. So there's Ascent Nutrition. There is medicinal foods. Look under the products. There are EMF protection devices.
And this is all on your
There is-
website.
Yeah. And all my readings that I do, medical astrology, locational astrology called astrocartography, relationship charts, natal charts, heliocentric. The list is kind of long because I keep adding more. And all the different products that I'm aligned with are on my website. New ones are to come that I already recommend to people on my pages. So you can follow me on Facebook and on Telegram. And I share everything that I've heard of that I know is good, whether I'm affiliated with their company or not. I will just share it because, you know, That's the most important thing to me is
Yeah.
to make everybody aware of this and to listen to what other people know and help empower them and being able to share their tools, modalities, their creative talents, their voice, their podcasts. And I just can't wait to share more of you because I love you. I'm so glad we've been friends for so long. And what you're doing is tremendous. You're incredibly talented and you're such a wonderful friend. And you're a great example of everything. So I look forward to, I'm going to be putting you on my website and be sharing your podcast. And just, message me and keep me in the loop about it. If I miss your message, just message me back. Same with everybody who might sign up as a client. If I miss you, it's because I have so much extra spam. I think they're doing that on purpose. So I miss messages.
They are.
Yeah.
They do it on
my
purpose.
email is a nightmare. And I'm like, what happened? So anyway, we'll leave it at that. I do have to, one of my sons just kind of hailed me. But
All right. Well, thank you so much.
much.
And you have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Okay, sweet. All right.
To close, I'd like to talk very quickly about the issue of fantasy. Fantasy refers in some of its definitions to suppositions resting on no solid ground. And I think you can see already we've had alien fantasy perpetrated upon us in scenarios. I think more disturbing sometimes is the fact that there's come to be such a strong element of fantasy or fantastic thinking in the abduction research community, so that we've made the mistake of basing our theories and ideas and responses upon what is essentially alien-controlled reports from abductees that cannot be taken at face value, even by those of us who go through this.
X-Files, soft disclosure, fucking with your brain, and it's designed to acclimate you to this slow-moving brigade of alien composers conducting everything, so that you never notice how fucking strange the world has become. And slowly they invade another movie to confuse you, so you don't know what to say. As full disclosure movements start to expose the game. See, they want you to believe that I am just insane. But with these songs I'm a druid, too fluid to stop. With this music I use it like Cupid. Now watch these abusive acoustics break down the whole plot. My conclusive intrusion is ruthless. I brought enough ammunition to position myself right up front. Demolition is the mission, fully loaded with this gun. This transmission leaves them wishing my ambition was a stunt, but this tactician's exposition is so persistent when it comes.
My most recent work is reported in the new book, Taken. It was published this past April by Kelpworks. I hope we will, by the time I'm through talking, understand all of the connotations that I imply with the title.
The subliminal conditioning keeps you inside your cage. So with these rhythmical medicinals, I'm here to rearrange the traditional municipals installed within your brain by a digital encryption that you never knew to blame. But AI is what they use to abuse and confuse. Watch the news to have your views distorted by somebody who's reinforcing and reporting whatever has been cued by the system's predictive wisdom. Now listen, cause here's the truth. You're hypnotically controlled by lights and sounds, so you don't fight. Watch a movie that is proving what this music that I write exposes, but you lose focus. Hocus pocus satellites I say they live was trying to warn you about these locust parasites. With this fiction, your addiction has restricted your own mind. Your affliction gets depicted by descriptive written rhymes. These prescriptions I'm inflicting with my diction, hard designed to constrict and then evict every script which keeps you blind.
Fact number 3. In encounters, the human's perceptions are controlled, as are the human's conscious memories. Now, you're already very familiar, probably, from the work of Hopkins and Jacobs and others, with the concept of screen memories.
They tell it to you through a screen so that you won't believe that any of these things exist. But I resist that dream as I persist. They just insist on trying to twist this scene. But my hit list keeps growing. It's a bitch. I wish this team of hypnotists could finally see that I ain't backing down. And my words are packed with enough facts to make Dracula drown in a pool of blood. This fucking flood attacks this sound of mind divine, and every time it counteracts you clown. So just fall back as I reload in this track, as I expose how all you hijack clones only react to the code. So I send my mental bullets from this pulpit and hack these clones, then reattach them to your faction. Watch it back, who knows? Your most trusted men might bust in on my orders and relay this message to you as a warning. If you think that I am playing, they'll come swarming in no more. Pretend this war will in your games. My performance is informing your whole horde of friends to pray.
The prophecy, the prophecy.
Cause I'm the foreman, all your boring attempts have been in vain. This needs no chorus, yes I'm sure this shit's equipped to storm your gates. My task force will come through pouring more and more until I say, light this bitch up as I kick shut your front door and watch the flames.
The problem, of course, with the abduction phenomena, as with a lot of ufology, is that the nature of the alien activity is designed deliberately to keep us from having much in the way of concrete evidence. Designed that way. It is not an accident. So it is difficult to feel confident of many facts. The dictionary defines facts as things and ideas which are demonstrably existent.